And today I'm announcing that the Government of Canada will be responding by matching the U.S. approach, with 25% tariffs on all vehicles imported from the United States that are not compliant with CUSMA, our North American Free Trade Agreement. We will fight to bring each of these tariffs to an end. We're fighting in courts, challenging that these tariffs have been illegally imposed under U.S. law. Well, this is a tragedy. It is also the new reality. We must respond with both purpose and force. And while they have been imposed under different premises, some things are consistent. They are all unjustified, unwarranted, and, in our judgment, misguided. Yesterday marked the latest in President Trump's unprecedented series of U.S. tariffs that are designed to reshape the international trading system. The ambition of these measures is enormous. The effects on the global economy will be monumental. We received confirmation that the latest reciprocal tariffs will not be imposed on Canada. At the same time, President Trump confirmed that the tariffs announced last week against our auto industry will come in, and indeed have come into effect today. So while it's progress that further tariffs were not imposed on Canada yesterday, the President's actions will reverberate here in Canada and across the world. Three different sets of U.S. tariffs remain in place and will continue to pose significant threats to Canadian workers and Canadian businesses. And while they have been imposed under different premises, some things are consistent. They are all unjustified, unwarranted, and, in our judgment, misguided. And we are already seeing the consequences. Just last evening, workers from Unifor Local 444, with whom I met last week, learned that their auto assembly plant in Windsor will be shutting down for at least the next 2 weeks. That's 3,600 workers who are now out of work, not by their choice. Workers who now worry how they're going to put food on the table and pay their bills. I and my government stand in solidarity with those workers in Windsor and all those workers hurt by President Trump's tariffs. And that's why we committed from the very start that all, and I repeat, all of our tariff proceeds will go to protect workers affected by the tariffs. That plan is working. As U.S. Customs and Border Protection themselves have acknowledged, there was a 97% drop in fentanyl seized at our shared border in January compared to December. In fact, Canada was not mentioned once in the United States annual report that lists the biggest threat to that country. Just last night, the U.S. Senate made it clear that these tariffs are a mistake. The Senate voted to repeal them in a symbolic but important assertion of both fact and solidarity. The second set of U.S. tariffs were imposed in March on steel and aluminum imports from around the world, including Canada. Canada has long been the United States' main supplier of these materials that are vital to building Americans' homes, their cars, their bridges, their consumer goods, and so much more. These materials are vital to powering America's economy. The President pursued similar tariffs on steel and aluminum during his first term, a process which led to thousands of lost jobs in America. Then, as now, those tariffs were in clear violation of trading agreements. Today it's CUSMA, an agreement that the President himself negotiated and promoted during his first term, an agreement that we in Canada have upheld in good faith. Last week, the President and his administration announced their third set of tariffs, this time against auto imports primarily from Mexico and Canada. In the year I was born, Canada and the United States signed the Auto Pact, an agreement that ended auto tariffs between our nations and began a 60-year period, you can guess my age, a 60-year period of close cooperation, partnership, job growth, and prosperity. And that era has now ended unless the United States and Canada can agree on a new comprehensive approach. Yesterday's actions by the U.S. administration, while not specifically targeting Canada, will rupture the global economy and adversely affect global economic growth. The global economy is fundamentally different today than it was yesterday. The system of global trade anchored on the United States that Canada has relied on since the end of the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped to deliver prosperity for our country for decades, is over. Our old relationship of steadily deepening integration with the United States is over. The 80-year period when the United States embraced the mantle of global economic leadership, when it forged alliances rooted in trust and mutual respect, and championed the free and open exchange of goods and services, is over. Well, this is a tragedy. It is also the new reality. We must respond with both purpose and force. We are a free, sovereign, and ambitious country. We are masters in our own home. Nous sommes maîtres chez nous. Nous contrôlons notre destin. Nous allons tracer notre propre voie. Nous choisissons de nous battre, de protéger et de bâtir. Nous allons nous battre contre ces tarifs jusqu'à ce qu'ils soient annulés. Nous allons protéger nos travailleurs, nos entreprises pendant cette période difficile. Surtout, nous allons bâtir une économie canadienne renouvelée. Nous allons bâtir un Canada fort. We will fight to bring each of these tariffs to an end. We're fighting in courts, challenging that these tariffs have been illegally imposed under U.S. law. We have filed disputes underscoring that they are in violation of our free trade agreement, CUSMA. We have gone to the World Trade Organization because these actions are against international trade law. We are responding today with, and we have responded throughout, with carefully calibrated and targeted counter tariffs. Hier, j'ai rencontré mon conseil sur les relations canado-américaines. J'ai tenu une rencontre du comité du Conseil des ministres sur les relations canado-américaines. J'ai aussi convoqué les premiers ministres des provinces et territoires pour la troisième fois en autant de semaines. Nous sommes unis. Nous sommes déterminés. As I told President Trump during our call last week, Canada will respond to the U.S. auto tariffs. And today I'm announcing that the Government of Canada will be responding by matching the U.S. approach, with 25% tariffs on all vehicles imported from the United States that are not compliant with CUSMA, our North American Free Trade Agreement. And on the non-Canadian content of CUSMA-compliant vehicles from the United States as well. Our tariffs, though, unlike the U.S. tariffs, will not affect auto parts because we know the benefits of our integrated production system. And they will also not affect vehicle content from Mexico, who is respecting the CUSMA agreement. And as well, we are developing a framework for auto producers in Canada to get relief from these counter tariffs as long as they maintain their production and investment in our country. Importantly, every single dollar raised from from those counter tariffs, our counter tariffs, which could reach around $8 billion before remission, will go directly to our auto workers and the companies affected by those tariffs. And that's on top of a $2 billion fund that we announced last week to build a made-in-Canada auto sector, a fund that a new Liberal government would implement should we be elected. Nos droits de douane n'affecteront pas les pièces automobiles car nous connaissons les avantages de notre système de production intégré. Ils n'affecteront pas le contenu des véhicules en provenance du Mexique. Parallèlement, nous élaborerons une carte permettant aux constructeurs automobiles d'éviter nos droits de douane compensatoires à condition qu'ils maintiennent leur production et leurs investissements au Canada. Il est important de noter que chaque dollar récolté, c'est-à-dire environ 8 milliards de dollars avant remise, ira directement à nos travailleurs de l'automobile et aux entreprises touchées par ces droits de douane. Cela s'ajoute au fonds de 2 milliards de dollars pour construire un nouveau secteur automobile fabriqué au Canada, que j'ai annoncé qu'un nouveau gouvernement libéral mettrait en œuvre si nous étions élus. Our retaliatory tariffs that we previously announced in response to the United States' other tariffs will remain in effect. You know, we take these measures reluctantly, and we take them in ways that it's intended and will cause maximum impact in the United States and minimum impact here in Canada. And we should be aware that the President and his administration have also signaled that tariffs will be applied on what the Americans term as strategic sectors: pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, lumber, and agriculture. Dans les jours et les semaines à venir, nous dirons à nos homologues américains que ce serait une erreur, que la question de l'offre n'est pas sur la table, que toute nouvelle mesure commerciale entraînerait une réponse calibrée, mais énergique, de la part du Canada, et que le moment est venu de renégocier en profondeur notre partenariat économique et de sécurité. As President Trump and I agreed last week, he and the Prime Minister of Canada will sit down immediately following the election to find areas of common ground and agreement in a new economic and security partnership. I told the President that I will be working hard for the next month to earn the right to represent Canada in those discussions, to get the best deal for Canada under the new U.S. approach. At the same time, Canada must be looking elsewhere to expand our trade, to build our economy, and to protect our sovereignty. Canada is ready to take a leadership role in building a coalition of like-minded countries who share our values. We believe in international cooperation. We believe in the free and open exchange of goods, services, and ideas.